Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lavinia here. So another makeup tutorial here, which is a holiday glam inspired makeup, and this would be my entry for Team Collab Holiday Giveaway contest. And let's start with exfoliating our face with a gentle exfoliator from MUZ, which removes all your dead skin cells for a clean canvas. Look at those. And I'm using here my Nivea aftershave balm, which is a good primer and it's the best. So I'm using here a magic tape as a stencil for the makeup look, and using an eye primer from Essence, I'm just applying it on my eyelids to make the eyeshadows pop and last longer. So I'm using here my Tartelette palette. So starting off with the shade Free Spirit, I'm applying it all over my eyelids up to my brow bone area, and then I'm using here the shade Wanderer as on my crease as a transition shade, and then on the outer V I'm using here the shade Best Friend, which is gorgeous purple color, and then on the inner corner of my eye I'm using here the shade Super Mom, and then on the outer V area I'm using here the shade Bombshell to darken the look, and then I'm applying here Best Friend again on the middle area, and then I'm using here again the shade Wonder to blend out everything, and then I'm using here my Lancome gel eyeliner, and then I'm lining my eyes here for that strong cat eye look. Then I'm using here Wispy Lashes, and then I've removed already the tape, and then we are ready to apply the foundation. So I'm using here my foundation from Catrice, which is an all matte plus, and I love this warm beige color because it is the right tone for me, and I'm using here a buffing brush from Real Techniques to buff the color all over my face. And then to contour and highlight, I'm using here my NYX Wonder Stick, and with the contour shade I'm contouring here the hollows of my cheeks and on the sides of my nose and my jawline and on my forehead and my temple. And then using here my 24-hour Super Stay concealer, I'm applying it all over my high points of my face, and then I'm using here my buffing brush from Real Techniques, and I'm buffing everything to blend it. Then after that I'm using here my Lancome Dual Finish foundation, and then after that I'm baking my face using my Ben Nye Luxury Powder in Banana. And then after that we're ready to define our eyebrows using my BYS Brow Definition Kit, and I'm using that brown, medium brown color on the innermost part of my eyebrows, and then on the outermost part of my eyebrows I've been using the dark brown powder, and then I'm using the shade Best Friend on below my eyes, and then using here the Estee Lauder Sumptuous Extreme Eyelash Mascara, and then I'm contouring here using my BYS Contour Trio, and of course for my blush I'm using here my Dior Bronze Harmony de Blush in Coral Riviera. And then I'm using here my e.l.f. Baked Highlighter with a fan brush. And of course for the lips I'm using here my Soft Touch Auto Lip Liner from Etude House in pink, and top it off with my Lime Crime Naked Velvet. And you are done with the look. I hope you guys like it, and please don't forget to subscribe on my channel, and don't forget to support me. Thank you for watching. Bye!